The Edmonton Oilers may have themselves a problem, and a trade might be the only way out. Goaltenders. It's been a pretty big part of Edmonton's fall from grace the past little while. You talk about the tandem last year, which led them to the Stanley Cup Finals in Stu Skinner and Calvin Pickard, and the number one critique of both of these guys was that they're just simply not that good. By comparison to some of the other teams that have goaltending tandems or even one superstar goaltender, the Edmonton Oilers needed an upgrade in net. But here's the thing. When you look at who it is suiting up for Edmonton nowadays, you'll see that Tristan Jarry has an .878 save percentage in 4 games. You'll see that Connor Ingram has a .904 save percentage in 7 games. By all accounts, Ingram has actually been a lot better than we all expected, which leaves some doubt as to what the future has in store for Calvin Pickard, who is still on this Oilers team and whose name is now all of a sudden circulating on trade discussions. Pickard has an .871 save percentage this year in 16 games, a .368 goals against average. He is 5-6-2 in his overall record. And right now, he's 33, signed on till the end of this year, making $1 million. Cal Pickard is not a good enough backup for a team that wants to win a Stanley Cup. We got glimpses of that 2 years ago. We saw that in full force last year. He had a .915 save percentage when the Oilers went to the finals the first time. 3 games played in the playoffs, but then again, still, the numbers were a lot better. Last year, though, .886 save percentage in 10 games. Neither Pickard nor Skinner were really on top of their game throughout most of last season's playoff run, with the exception of the end of the second round, start of the third round stint for Stu, but Cal Pickard definitely didn't make things any better. Which is why, when we combine this with Connor Ingram, we have a conversation that has opened up about trades. I'm going to leave a link in the description to this article posted on OilersNation.com by Zach Lang, who goes out there and writes about how injuries to the Rangers and Flyers goaltenders could open a door to trade with Edmonton. This piece was posted by Lang earlier this afternoon, and the article talks about how the Oilers have a problem. They're pressed up tight to the salary cap, and while they've been able to maneuver by activating Jake Wallman and Jarry from the LTIR by placing an injured Adam Henrique there, they won't be able to do that forever. When the time comes to activate Henrique, who is expected to be out until after the Olympics, the Oilers will be over the NHL salary cap. It's going to require even more maneuvering, and at the very least, it would require some players to be sent down to the AHL. But it could be made easier with the trade of Mangiapane. It'll also require the Oilers to decide on their goaltending, Lang writes. Jarry is back and will be the number 1 moving forward, but a decision needs to be made about whether Connor Ingram or Calvin Pickard will remain with the team. Pickard requires waivers today, while Ingram will require them as of January 17th. Now here's the thing. January 17th is in 2 days. Connor Ingram, by all accounts, has been good in the stint that he's had with the Oilers so far. It would be very weird to send him down to the AHL after the body of work he had just put up. Consistent .900 save percentage games. He only had 1 stinker there against Boston where he let in 6 goals on 29 shots against. That was the only hiccup on the road in the NHL in 25-26 for Calvin Pickard, who has been very consistent and, quite frankly, the best goaltender Edmonton has had this season. Which is why we go back over onto the article. The article dives into whether or not a Pickard or a Connor Ingram shall be moved or sent down or whatever. There's an argument to be made that Ingram has more than earned the spot based on his recent play, and there is a trade market that could be quickly taking shape for the Oilers to trade Pickard if they choose to do so. This is where Lang writes about the Flyers and the New York Rangers, 2 teams that could make ideal trade partners if the Oilers do look to trade Pickard. In both cases, the team has suffered an injury to their starting goaltender. Igor Shesterkin has been on the IR with a lower body injury since leaving a January 5th game against the Mammoth, and the Rangers have struggled since. Including a 3-2 loss to the Mammoth that night, they have gone 0-4-1, allowing 30 goals against over that stretch while getting outscored by 22 goals. My goodness, it's that bad in New York, eh? 30 goals against, 22 goals outscored by. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. You look at just the overall body of work here. 2 goals against the Bruins, 2 goals against the Kraken, 4 against the Senators, but they've allowed so many in that span. 18, 22, 27 goals against in the previous 4 games for the New York Rangers. We've been talking all about their meltdown. Mika Zibanejad, JT Miller, etc. So this article is going out there and proposing whether or not Calvin Pickard could be a solution for the New York Rangers to split the load with Jonathan Quick. I mean, is Calvin Pickard that much better than Spencer Martin? You can debate amongst yourselves in the comment section whether or not that is the case. But if you scroll down in this piece, you will see some more conversation on the Philadelphia Flyers. They could make a potentially more interesting trade partner, and they have $15 million in cap space. Their starting goaltender, Dan Vladar, went down during Wednesday's game. And while the Athletics' Kevin Kurz reported it's not believed to be serious, but even if that's the case, it's not unreasonable to think it could scare them into making a move. Samuel Ersson has been Vladar's backup this year, posting a 6-7-4 record, an .855 save percentage, and a .332 goals against, for a team that's 2 points out of a wildcard spot heading into Thursday's games. Them wanting to upgrade between the pipes could make sense. Daily Faceoff's Anthony DeMarco reported such news earlier this week. Now that is absolutely terrible. I didn't realize Samuel Ersson has been that bad this season. .855 save percentage? Is he the worst goalie in the league? Oh my goodness, that is absolutely terrible. I get it, he's the backup and everything, so he's not expected to be amazing, but oh my goodness, he is. He is the worst goaltender in the National Hockey League, and with Dan Vladar potentially being out for a while, it could absolutely rip the door open for Philadelphia to consider a goaltending trade. Now, again, same question, whether or not Calvin Pickard is really the guy to go out there and fulfill whatever goaltending needs you have, that is a totally separate conversation. But for the sake of argument, it does get me intrigued as to whether or not the Oilers could free up some cap space. They could get rid of this guy, maybe get a draft pick, or maybe get a prospect, get somebody in there. Because if the projected Ingram and Jari pairing continues to the rest of the season, you're going to have no real need to keep Calvin Pickard on the team anyway. And if he requires waivers, then it's like, all right, well, what are we doing with this guy? Shucks. But Samuel Ersson, man, .855 save percentage, .332 goals against. Look at Peter Mrazek. He's averaging 4.07 goals against per game. Okay, I gotta stop talking about goaltenders. Calvin Pickard's .871 and .368 goals against are not any better, but still. One trade reference caught my eye, and that was the Red Wings acquisition of Mrazek and Smith for Veleno. It helped free up just under $3 million in cap space for the Blackhawks, who moved out a backup goaltender and an older rental winger for a young player who wasn't fitting in. The Flyers also have winger Tyson Forster on the IR after undergoing surgery in mid-December. Now, the article proposes some trade ideas. Bobby Brink, I think he would be a really nice addition to the Edmonton Oilers. He's like the forward equivalent of an Evan Bouchard, essentially. Not great foot speed, but some really nice offensive instincts and a good shot. But hey, Bobby Brink for Calvin Pickard I think would be a steal for Edmonton. You can let me know your thoughts in the comment section, though. How do you feel about the idea of a Pickard trade? If you are a fan of the Philadelphia Flyers or the New York Rangers, what are your thoughts on Cal Pickard heading over to your squads? Does it make sense? Do you like it? Do you not? Thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sign on. And bye.